the big British castle. It's time for Adam and Joe to broadcast on the radio. There'll be some music and some random talking in between, and then eventually the whole thing will just end.
Susie and the Badges. Hey, how you doing, listeners? Adam Buxton here.
Hello, this is Joe Cornish. Is that it for your Susie sign-off?
Yeah.
It was quite surreal and abrupt and staccato.
Sure. I decided to say the first part of it off mic.
Oh, wow. This is a new thing.
Yeah, I'm mixing it all up. I'm inventing
crazy.
a new kind of radio.
We're seconds in and you're off the chart. What's he doing? He's out of control. He's moved away from his mic and he's making peculiar bird noises.
I'm doing the show from here!
We're going to get another Sony Gold for this.
For Adam Buxton's incredible off-mic avant-garde radio show.
Good morning, listeners. Happy Saturday morning. This is Adam and Joe here with you on BBC Six Music. All the way until 1 o'clock in the afternoon. We'll be pushing through the noon barrier, and we've got loads of exciting things coming up for you. We're going to have some Traveller's Tales, some made-up jokes. We'll have the results of the extraordinary Royal Wedding Song Wars. We're going to have some great music. What else have we got?
Well, we're going to stand the squadron to attention before any of that.
Should we do that right now?
Let's do it right now.
Black Squadron! Always catch the beginning of the show. Black Squadron don't want to miss a thing. That's not the way Black Squadron roll. Went to bed at a reasonable hour. Gotta be sharp on Saturday morning. That's the secret of the Squadron's power. Black Squadron!
If you're a new listener to the show, if you've never heard this programme before, then welcome. You are, by default, a member of Black Squadron. That's right, though, isn't it?
That's correct. Anybody who listens live in the first hour of the show automatically becomes dragooned into Black Squadron. Mm-hmm. Can you be dragooned?
I don't know. Yeah, sure you can. By
a dragoon.
Johnny Depp or someone like that.
Right. So, and of course, Black Squadron are the elite listening force. They're a shadowy group of covert agents spread across this planet, the whole planet.
You know what binds them together? They're not wasters. You know,
no.
The wasters were out there last night, Friday night, talking mumbo, jumbo, having too
Getting
much, getting absolutely tooty, and probably went to bed way after midnight.
Still asleep.
Probably still asleep.
Lazily waiting for the podcast.
Exactly.
Or listen again. Not Black Squadron.
No.
Oh, no.
They're not like Digiforce. They're a bunch of wasters.
Hey.
They're not going to hear it.
Oh, they're not going to hear it because, of course, none of this goes in the podcast.
No, we'll cut the Digiforce insults out of the podcast.
That's a brilliant scheme.
That's how we keep them all
So
sweet.
listen, we're going to issue you a command, Black Squadron. You have to grab hold of your cameras or your cell phones with cameras in them and text a photo of you executing this command to 64046. Alternatively, you can email it to adamandjoe.sixmusic@bbc.co.uk. All submissions may well be put on our blog. So don't send us a photo that you wouldn't want posted on the BBC Adam and Joe blog.
They may well be put on the blog, and maybe one day they'll turn up as a really cheap cash-in kind of book that turns up next to the counter in like a music shop. Actually, that's not true, because music shops won't exist anymore, will they?
No, shops won't exist.
Shops won't exist.
The world won't exist, Adam.
It's a cheery thought,
the way we're going.
Thanks very much. So, yeah, in a second, we're going to fire off a bit of music by Johnny, a track called You Was Me, out on Monday, May the 9th. But actually, no, look at this. More fun facts. I didn't know this. Johnny are Euros Childs from Gorky's Zygotic Monkey and Norman Blake from Teenage Fan Club. How exciting. I'm looking forward to hearing that. So we're going to be firing that off in just a few moments after Torpedo Commander Cornish gives you the command, I'm filling. Can you hear it when I start filling? That's when I just start talking pure nonsense. It's still happening. The filling is still happening.
Because I'm trying to figure out this Black Squadron command. Now listen, Black Squadron, last week we gave you quite an edgy command. What was it last week?
Surgery.
It's quite edgy. Personally, I, J. Corns, regretted it quite quickly.
Well, there was a lot of photos with people brandishing knives close to...
Yeah, it made me very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I found it unsettling. And is the gallery a little smaller than usual? Just because some of the photos were quite medically frightening.
They were removed for health and safety.
We have a lot of professional surgeons who listen.
Sure.
So as a result, our listenership is mostly surgeons. Many of them are untrained, but all our listeners are very enthusiastic about surgery.
Nonsense.
Hey, we can't get to that yet. What, you're saying they're all trained surgeons? So we're going for something a little softer. And remember, Black Squadron, you can interpret this command in any way you want. You can be creative or whatever. And the key is to get your photo in as quickly as possible. This is quite a verbose command, Black Squadron. Are you ready? Is everybody ready?
Is everybody ready? Yes.
Okay, here we go. Black Squadron, here is your command. Incredibly nice, warm, comfy and cosy.
Enjoyable. That was Johnny, You Was Me, out on Monday. Eros Childs from Gorky Zygotic Monkey and Norman Blake there. Very keen to hear more of that. This is Adam and Joe here on BBC Six Music. That's quite a good DJ link there, didn't you think?
Yeah, it was well said. You kind of, it flowed from the previous sentence. And you kind of did this on it and a little vocal peak.
More of that. Okay,
Yeah,
and then I
very
kind of
forceful,
moved
crunch
on.
and roll.
So the next thing, crunching.
Propulsive.
Rolling, thank you very much.
You're very good.
Very, very good. Yeah, well,
very,
started
very,
well. I mean,
very good.
first link of the show was amazing and carried on.
Hello and welcome to Back Row on Radio 4.
Hey.
Hello and welcome to Back Row on Radio 4.
Your voice is so well
And now on Radio 4.
moderated, is that the word?
Yes. So, Black Squadron, your command was incredibly nice, warm, cuddly and cosy. And I thought I would get a lot of incredibly nice, warm, cuddly and cosy pictures of everybody in bed.
Joe was saying while we were playing that record, I wanted to see people in bed.
I wanted to see them all like super wrapped up in a duvet because that's where I want to be right now. So I envy them and I want to see them all incredibly warm, cuddly and cosy.
Yeah, and what have you got?
We've got 3 photos so far, or that's what I've been given. We have a very nice anonymous couple, a man who looks a little bit like a better-looking Toby Young.
That's right, he does.
With his wife, who's, we can only see the top of her
An
head.
even better looking Toby Young.
Yes, hard though it may be to believe such a thing. They're wrapped up in what looks like a beautifully hand-crocheted rug of some sort.
They're nice. Look at they've
Does
got,
it look incredibly nice, warm, cuddly and cosy?
And they've both got glasses. They both look intelligent.
Yeah. And we, yeah. Is that good enough as an answer?
Joe was making a little note there.
Yeah. No, lots more have come in now. Things have changed. There was obviously some sort of blockage in the pipes.
Right.
But whatever it is, it's been pushed through.
Been expulsed. So, listeners, last week I was
sound
talking.
of it being pushed through.
And what's the sound of us busting through the noon barrier?
Oh, we'll hear that at noon.
Okay, all right then. Last week on the show, I was talking about the fact that I was attending Joe's premiere of his film Attack the Block this Wednesday, and I was worried about what I was going to wear.
You looked amazing.
Thanks very much in the end, and thank you very much indeed to everybody who sent in their sketches. There were some very nice sketches of things I should wear.
Just design outfits, fashion sketches.
Someone sketched a large, like block-shaped outfit that I should wear, so I would be wearing essentially, a big material, like a block.
Did anyone sketch you in the nude?
No.
I'd be interested to see some people's sketches of you in the nude. I'd be interested to know what they think your mysterious, your areas are like.
This was a fun thing we used to do, wasn't it? I remember one holiday. Do you remember that when we were sat waiting for a ferry in Patras?
Some of them could
sketching
be
each other in the nude.
Really, we weren't naked though. We weren't posing for each other naked.
We were speculating.
I mean, because they needn't necessarily be fully revealing. They could be sort of Beryl Cook style, bawdy seaside postcard pictures.
I'm remembering the sketch.
I think that'd be funny because I think your buttocks are quite unusual. I don't know. I think it's a secret you hold from me.
They're unusually impressive, certainly, because the rest of me is a little out of shape. But when you get to the buttocks, you think, "What the heck? They're in amazing condition."
Most of it,
secret weapon.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. You've been working out.
Well, because I'm a cyclist. I cycle everywhere.
That's what I
so
thought.
They are just extraordinary. Anyway,
Wow.
not enough people get to see them. But in the end, what I did was I went for the suit that I got married in, my morning suit, tails, the waistcoat, the whole 9 yards. I mean, I put it in my saddlebag on the bike, so it got a little crease.
Did you at any point have a crisis of confidence as you came down the red carpet towards the photographers? Did you at any point think, is this the right sartorial choice?
Well, I did. I had a crisis of confidence earlier than that, though. I strode out of the house. It was a beautiful evening on Wednesday, and I was all excited, got myself dressed up, haven't been out for a long time. And I had my jacket over my shoulder there, and I was striding down the street, going to get a taxi, another luxury. I don't normally get taxis. And I was about to hail a taxi, and I had my shades on as well. I thought I'm probably looking young. and quite cool. And, you know, this is exciting. And I was striding along there and someone yelled from across the street, "Oh, excuse me." And I thought, probably panhandlers after one of my tuppences. But they're not going to get it. I haven't got time to deal with panhandlers right now. I'm sorry, I'm not in a charity mood. I've got things to do and taxis to get. So I strode on, and when I got in the taxi, finally I glanced down and realised that my very long flies on my special suit trousers were absolutely undone, as undone as they possibly could be, and I was absolutely agape in every conceivable way.
Wow.
And probably the guy across the street.
In every conceivable way.
I mean,
because I'm conceiving
sure.
some ways.
Well, you would be right. Go further. Yeah, you'd be right. I mean, it's amazing that I didn't feel the breeze. Do you know what I'm saying? And this guy was obviously trying to help me out from across the street.
No, really?
He could tell, like, that guy's in trouble. I don't know where he's going. I don't know if it's a wedding or the premiere of Attack the Block, but he's in trouble. Anyway, luckily I noticed when I got in the taxi.
Good move.
So my confidence was shaken by the time I got to the...
Some pairs of trousers,
gauntlet.
I think people who live in trouser factories, occasionally they sort of make the zips so that they will just fall open as something to get their day to go faster. What's the word? They sort of...
Loosen them?
Loosen the zip,
Yeah.
yeah, and secretly chuckle to themselves.
Right. Grease the teeth or
Because
something.
I've got a couple of pairs of trousers where, you know, gravity just pulls
They
the
just
zip
slide
down.
right
They just
down.
slide right down.
And especially
maybe it's
if
a
they're-
low-grade type of zip.
Yeah. Maybe it's a Lou grade type of zip.
Maybe they're made by Lou Grade.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing he's into.
He's finished raising the Titanic.
Now he's lowering the zip.
Better have a record. to
Yeah, okay,
clear-
here's a
clear
free
the air.
play for you listeners. What is a free play?
I don't know. It's just like it's just a fun play, a fun record.
It's a fun deviation from the excellent playlist thrown together by our producer James.
Now this looks good. This looks like a sophisticated film-based choice. I noticed last week I wanted to play Bernard Herrmann's Taxi Driver theme, but we didn't get time to do it, did we? We might play it today.
Play it today.
That's exciting.
Well, it'll be a nice little themed thing in a way then, won't it? Because I have Anton Karas, Damien Stad.
Really?
No, he's not. But he's the Zithermeister. And so he was spotted by, I think, the producer of The Third Man, the Orson Welles film. And he was asked to compose a theme for it. And this is what he came up with. One of the best
He
loved...
said, all right then, and was this not recorded under a table or something strange?
Oh, I don't know about that.
I think it's under the table in his kitchen or something. I saw a making of documentary
Maybe.
once.
1949 from The Third Man soundtrack.
It's got an amazing acoustic, the zither playing.
And it's lovely and old and constantly delightful. This is the Harry Lime theme. Yeah, do you feel happy when people speed things up?
In a record?
Yeah, when they do like a speedy version, like when they did the Fat Boy Norman Ricks remix of Brimful of
Oh,
Ashes.
when they sample something and speed it up. Oh, when he's... Is that what you mean?
Yeah, I mean, well, that's Gorillaz, right, with Clint Eastwood, and that's the speedy version. Originally, it was
Oh, right.
half that speed.
Well, every year, the young population of the country lose another sort of minute of attention.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
Ability to sustain attention. So actually, every year, everything is speeded up a tiny bit.
That's true.
Just to get the younger generation, keep them interested.
Yeah, what's the slowest thing around these days?
The slowest thing. Well, there's slow food, isn't there? People
They don't
talk
even
about
have
slow food.
I mean, there's maybe slow worms.
I had a friend who had an injured leg.
Did you?
And she could only walk incredibly slowly, and like really, really slowly, tiny paces. And it was really quite lovely walking around with her.
Sure.
Because you just walk extraordinarily slowly.
Man, look at the world in a new way.
And it was really cool. I mean, it's the kind of thing other people probably don't understand.
Sure.
Adam, you know.
Wow, look at the bark on the tree.
Exactly.
That kind of thing.
Hey, Black Squadron Command has been issued. We're about to stand down the squadron, but we've got some fantastic responses. Thank you very much for everybody who sent a photo. Here is a picture of a little boy, and the message says, my nephew Fred, he's called Fred, in the cow feeder, cosy, and this little boy is up to his neck in straw.
In straw and rat feces.
Would you say he's incredibly nice, warm and cosy?
I don't know. Maybe in an emergency
He
situation.
looks happy. He look at
He
Fred's
does.
face.
He looks like he's a sweet little
He's a beautiful
urchin
little
chap
boy,
with his face
doing
poking
a
out.
little happy smile.
But personally, I don't think that's the best place for children, in the straw pile.
I don't know. Sam, Percy and Yogi are three men. They're three men's men, and they are in bed together.
They
covered
look
in a lovely duvet.
very
and
cool.
One of them is having a can of what looks like perhaps a beer.
Yeah, it might be
breakfast.
beer, yeah.
Oh, yes, because look at what's on their wall behind them.
Oh, wow. Yeah, they
They live in a house made of old beer cans.
They're students.
They're students.
I used to like people who did things like that, like decorate.
But that's
a whole
very
room
nice. And I tell you what I'm particularly
Beer
impressed by
cans.
is people's bedding. And people seem to have a lot of cushions on their beds. That's a modern thing, isn't it? To make your bed look a bit like a hotel room.
Cushions.
Lots of scatter cushions.
I don't like
coloured
cushions.
rugs. Don't you? What do you have on your bed?
As little as possible.
Duvet?
My
4 pillows, 2
Our
each.
bed is divided into 2 halves,
Is
very
it?
strictly delineated.
With a brick wall in between.
If I had my way, yes. Barbed wire. But no, at night time, I like things cool. I'm a hot man, so I like to sleep with very little uncovering me. I certainly don't wear any PJs.
Whereas your wife.
Whereas my wife is a cold woman, and she likes to be covered up with as much as possible.
So that sounds
So
conflictive.
she's wearing like a fur coat, and then on top of that, she piles an
Hang
extra
on. Where did that become a
half-width
lie?
duvet.
Does she really wear a fur coat?
No, but she wears a lot of PJs.
Right.
And then on top of that, she'll wear like she will have a half-width duvet piled on top of that.
No.
Yeah.
And then the double-width
Sometimes
duvet on top
she'll
of
get
that.
a blanket, fold that in half, put that on top
Buckles,
of the duvet.
calm down.
Oh, it's unbelievable, I'm telling you.
Calm the heck down.
It's like the Berlin Wall.
Listen, rewind a lot of information because everybody's trying to picture you and your good lady wife at home in bed.
Yeah, sure.
Having earlier tried to picture you in the nude, we are now trying to picture you in bed. And so, does she have her own duvet? You have 2 separate duvets.
So we got one big duvet, right?
But then she has an extra half duvet.
She's got extra half duvets that she pops on
How
top
does
of
that
her
possibly
side.
work? I mean, there's got to be some duvet yanking. And the whole thing must slide out of alignment.
It does.
Yeah.
A little bit, but
You yank during the night, don't you?
of course, everybody does a little bit of yanking, but I tend to be the one. I don't mind if my limbs are poking out at the end of it. Do you know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's not the end of the world for me.
Pillows, cushions, how many?
No pillows. That's where I draw the line.
No pillows? You sleep
Oh,
without
no,
a
we got
pillow?
pillows. Sorry. I got one very squishy,
I got
thin
one
one.
very squishy thin one.
I got one very squishy, thin pillow. My wife likes the larger, plumper ones. She's happy
Really?
with 2 or 3.
You're very different.
We are very
It'll
different.
never work.
Opposites attract. When they met, it was murder. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to the Adam and Joe radio program here on BBC 6 Music. I think it's the finest digital radio station in the world. That's only my opinion. It's 10:30. Here's the news.
Stand down, your work is done. You've earned yourself a nice warm bath and maybe a nice little bun.
I used to feel acute frustration because I couldn't join in with Text the Nation. That's what I was thinking. New Oda. With True Faith there. This is Adam and Joe here on BBC 6 Music. Very nice to have you aboard. Sorry, that was disrespectful, wasn't it? New Order. Obviously they are. No disrespect. Don't want to have a fight with you, Bernie. Or any of the other guys. So listen, earlier on, we were talking about Go to Joe's premiere. We got into a thing. We made a hilarious comment about Lou Grade and flies and stuff like that. But then afterwards, I realised that I hadn't delivered the punchline right. Do you ever get that when you say something that you think is nominally amusing in some way, but then you think, I could have said it so much better. I wish I could go back and fix it.
So what did you say the first time round?
I mean, it wasn't that funny, but it was. You were talking about
Lou Grade and Raise the Titanic.
yeah, and we were talking about the fact that my flies were undone. So I said, and now it's lower, and now it's lower the flies. I should have said, and now it's lower the Flytanic. Yeah. So what we're going to do is we're going to fix it in the podcast. That's the wonderful thing that we can do because we have this live show, but then we also have a podcast, and James, our wonderful producer, chops it around and makes it sound nicer. So we're going to.
It's going to make all the difference.
Sure, it is.
It's going to. People are going to laugh very, very powerfully and authoritatively when they hear that improved joke.
And now we've that's enough. We've done it right now, haven't we? Because you've got me saying it, and you can just chop it in there.
It's magic.
It's a tissue of lies. Now, you've got something there, Joe, in your sweaty hands.
I have indeed. Here's an email we received from a listener called Don Wallyman. Wallyman?
Dave Wallyman.
Dr. Don. He says, Dear Adam and Joe, after last week's show, I was surprised at Adam's clear lack of understanding about your show's listener demographic. Joe quite rightly pointed out that what Adam was saying was nonsense. Now, this was when you said, very casually, and without
speculated.
warning, during last week's show, you proposed that this listener had this radio program had very few listeners between the ages of 75 and 25.
17 to 25.
17 to 25.
Yeah.
Sorry, my brain. I'm 75. And I declared that nonsense.
Nonsense.
I intervened instantly.
You did. You got very vehement.
Very vehement and strident, and because the nonsense alarm went off.
Sure.
Because what you had said was nonsense.
I pressed the nonsense
Let's
button.
continue with the email. Even though I'm 29, says Dr. Dom, I know loads of people who listen to your show who are between 17 and 25. I mean, have you ever seen the pictures of Black Squadron? No, he hasn't, because I do that. I sometimes pass a few over.
That's true. Joe sees more than I do.
To further reinforce Joe's point of view, I have catalogued the entire debacle using Some Funky Beats with a Z. So here is what Dr. Dom has put together. This is extraordinary. Please listen closely.
Because people who are aged between around 17 and 25 don't generally listen to this programme. Because I think...
Oh, that's nonsense.
Is it?
Yeah, that's nonsense. That is
Nonsense, nonsense, nonsense! Nonsense, nonsense! Nonsense, nonsense, nonsense!
No, but the nonsense button's gone off.
Nonsense,
The funny Easter Bunny is back
Nonsense.
with the voice of Russell Brand.
nonsense!
It's flashing.
Cornballs. That is nonsense.
If you listen to this programme when you're aged 70 to 25...
Hello, just wait a minute, please. Wait a minute, the fridge doesn't say that to me when I want to get something fridgy out of it.
Nonsense!
Write to Dr. Buckles right now and tell him
There might be a few...
Adam and Joe Dr.
Nonsense.
at bbc.co.uk.
I'm generalising that I think our listeners are either very young and don't know any better, or they're more sort of our age.
Nonsense, nonsense, nonsense!
There we are.
That could be a good promo for the show, couldn't it, James?
Well, now, what we have done is we have installed a real nonsense button.
Yeah.
Is that button capable of making noise?
Nonsense, nonsense, nonsense!
There we are. So, this can now be activated at any point if Dr. Buckles, or indeed Cornballs,
Yeah.
says something that is absurd.
Uh-huh.
So, it's going to be going off a lot.
Wow.
Get used to that noise.
That's also something that people...
I mean,
can-
we're becoming like proper wacky Saturday morning DJ.
Sure, we've got more jingles than we have things to say. We've got nonsense buttons.
Oh, dear. But that's fantastic, Dr. Dom.
we had
Thank
a
you very much
reverb
for putting that together. And I have to
facility.
say...
Yeah.
What?
If we had a reverb facility, then we could...
Then we'd be there.
Yeah.
We haven't got a posse, though.
We don't have a...
We
Well,
should
got
get
the squadron.
we should get an obsequious Black Squadron posse to laugh in an unmediated way.
James
at everything.
laughs. Sometimes he smiles at some of our...
Yeah,
Dog rubbish.
That's true. It should also be pointed out that we had hundreds of emails from people aged between 17 and 25 writing in to correct things. It's written here.
Yes,
I didn't choose to
I
say
know,
that.
but I get the feeling, we're going to reveal the results of Song Wars later on, and I get the feeling that it's going to be a bit of a week of rubbing Dr. Buckles'
I
face
don't get that. I don't get that feeling at all.
in
I
the
think
floor pie.
I would put money that you have absolutely won Song Wars.
Yeah, well, we're going to be revealing that in about half an hour, just after 11 o'clock. We're going to be doing Retro Text the Nation in a second. Well, not a second. I mean, like in a minute or in a few minutes, maybe. But first, here is friend of the show, beautiful human being.
She's beautiful.
And top-notch, lovely, folky woman, Emmy the Great. This is Iris.
Nonsense, nonsense, nonsense!
She is lovely, and we love her. That's Emmy the Great, and the track is called Iris from her new album Virtue, out on the 13th of June. That's so far away, it's such a long time to wait. Maybe she'll be in Glastonbury this year, and if we're there, perhaps we can hook up for some cakes or something. Adam and Joe here on BBC Six Music. It's Retro Text the Nation time, and we are getting a lot of very nice and beautifully crafted jingles being sent in.
Yeah, and they're sort of fitting into a groove because last week we played an amazing sort of cover of Bowie's Space Oddity.
Ashes to Ashes from Sam.
Ashes to Ashes, I'm sorry. Yeah, that was so beautifully put together and such a great sound alike. And now this week we've got another kind of Bowie-esque version.
This is from a fellow called Craig. He says, here's my Bowie-esque retro Text the Nation jingle recorded today, a riposte to Sam's excellent Ashes to Ashes. It's a bit long, but as the retro Text the Nation jingle is the greatest, jinglest jingle in jingledom,
Yes.
as Adam will agree, he
Yes.
puts in insulting brackets there. I didn't want to mess with with it too much. Oh, no.
He wants to make it much, much, much longer.
Why would you want to mess with the greatest jingle in jingledom? Still, had to cut the first line, though, or it would have been...
I love Jingledom.
hours long. I'm
going there this afternoon.
I live in Jingledom. I live and work in Jingledom, and where I'm a lowly serf. Anyway, so let's fire off Craig's amazing Bowie-inspired jingle right now.
I used to feel acute frustration, 'cause I couldn't join in.
Text the nation. So I would have done it.
Now my troubles have all disappeared, because retro takes the nation's fear. Now my letter might be out instead of thrown in the trash and forgotten about. We can retro take the nation.
That is amazing, Craig. Thank you so much. What a talented guy.
Yeah.
And a brilliant impression.
But what a jingle. I mean, what a jingle to inspire that kind of devotion. It's amazing. It's just amazing how strong and important that jingle is, and
Certainly.
how
Certainly
powerful
seems-
it is.
Certainly seems to mean a lot
Amazing.
to a lot of people.
Because other people make jingles, and
yeah, they do, don't
I mean, jingle after jingle after jingle, and
Jingle.
they just don't seem to
No.
catch on like that one
They don't,
does.
do they?
It's amazing.
No, they don't seem to connect
Such a great jingle.
in
Wow.
the same way, all of mine.
Mind blowing, really.
Do they? Okay, so Retro Text the Nation is dealing with last week's Text the Nation subject, which was body fiddles, and we were inundated with all kinds of variously interesting and revolting fiddles. We're not going to reveal too many of the really horrible ones.
But these are quite fun, aren't they? These are just little body ticks that you do just to pass the time. Like yesterday, I found myself doing the double knee jiggle.
double knees.
Because I was really going for it. I wasn't watching, but then I realised everything was trembling around me, and I realised I had both going, one after the other, in a kind of rhythmic judder like that.
Right.
It's satisfying. I like it already. It's vibrating my whole body.
They're not actually in sync. Do you do sometimes the same
left, right,
up and down at the same time?
No, I never do
Because
that.
then you would burrow
That's
right
too
through
much.
the floor,
Yeah, you
into
gotta
the
be
centre
careful.
of the Earth's
You do
core.
have to be careful.
Yeah.
We like fiddles that you can do at home with no kind of proppage. There might be one or two with some props. But why don't you try these at home? Maybe you'll find a brand new fiddle that's the one for you.
Like, as Yehudi Menuhin said. Hey, what? Excuse me. Here's a bit of fun that I think a lot of people have with their nose. Dear Adam and Joe, says Alan, a man from Woking in Surrey, I have a deeply satisfying fidget that my wife finds incredibly irritating. If I pull out my nasal hair, of which I have copious amounts, I can sometimes make myself sneeze. I find the petit mal of the sneeze both satisfying and addictive. So I keep pulling out hairs and making myself sneeze until either my wife shouts at me to stop or I bring on a nosebleed.
Is that a fiddle? It doesn't feel like you can repeat that often enough.
He's got a lot
to
of
be a
nose
fiddle.
hairs,
Does
and
he?
they keep growing back. I mean, now we're going to get
And
a
he
doctor
sneezes
saying,
every time, so it's poing.
If you do it in the right way and from the right area, you can get a very nice little sneeze going there.
This is something Dr. Buckles does as well.
Once or twice I've done it. It's fun. I am totally addicted to doing this, says Alan, and cannot stop myself. My son also has a similar thing, whereby he has completely removed all the hair from one of his eyebrows.
No, that's just a problem.
It is a problem. We don't know why, and we can't stop him. Love you, bye, says Alan.
That's not a fiddle, that's a problem.
That's no good. You got to stop that.
Don't do that. The way to stop that is just to stop doing it.
Right.
It's not that easy, though, sometimes, is it?
You have to maybe pluck both of them and then just start painting your eyebrows. That's not what you want to encourage in your young son, though, I don't think, necessarily. Not there's anything wrong with plucking your eyebrows and painting them if you're a young man.
Here we go. Here's another one that comes from Rob McLeod, who's a project designer in Design Office.
I love design office.
This email is entitled, My Mate Alan. Hello, Adam and Joe. My mate Alan, who I've known since we were children, has two odd things which he still does now, and we're 28. One, He jumps up and down, clapping his hands when he is excited for long periods of time.
How long are we talking about here?
He doesn't say. Number 2. If we play anything very physical that requires coordination, like basketball, he pulls a crazy face. He lifts his eyebrows as high as possible. I'm doing this now. Opens his eyes wide. Opens his mouth wide, exposing all his teeth, and sticks his tongue out really far. It's like a sort of Maori war face.
This is what I'm imagining Alan doing. Is that his name? Yeah.
Yeah, I love the show and would love it if you read this out, as it would make my palate work think I'm brilliant. If not, fair dues. Love and regards, Rob McLeod. Is that a fiddle? These things, who chose these?
It's like Patrick and
These are
SpongeBob.
they're so big. The sneezing, the nose hair plucking, the jumping up and down, they're so loud.
Here's one that is written in a kind of...
Writtened?
It's rotund in a sort of modern-day Russell Brand style patois. Adman and Joe Scon. This is from Lee Hickman from Oz Squadron. He's out there in Australia, mate. He says, I wear big glasses. I'm going to read it exactly as it's written, right? I wear big glasses pon me eye holes. They is right annoying and oft-on come slipping down me nose, innit? Anyways, right, I'm like always pushing me goggles back up with me finger. Thing is, right, when me puts me contacts in, I forgets all about it and carry on pushing up on me non-existent glasses like. I think people reckon I'm buffing me nose or something. It gets me well vexed. Thanks ever so. Love you. Bye. Lee Hinkman, male, Oz Squadron.
Didn't really understand any of that. I just enjoyed the noises.
Me goggles.
The words. It's like an email from Dick Van Dyke. Here's one from Michael Clapham in Manchester. Hello, chaps. This one requires patience. At times of boredom and lethargy, I'm prone to sticking the first inch of my tongue out from the safety of my mouth and sealing it off with my lips so that the tip of my tongue is exposed to the harsh outside world and the remainder is left in the safety of my mouth.
I'm doing it now.
I try to go about 2 minutes without returning the little fella home, which makes it really rather dry and seems to expose the taste buds. It is a strange sensation to feel part of your tongue completely added, but returning it to its oral sheath is hugely satisfying. The drying out process can be sped up by exhaling from the nostrils onto the tongue. You then achieve a kind of two-tone tongue, which feels very strange and nice when you wiggle it about before popping it back in your gob. Try it. It makes your own saliva taste yummy. Smooches. Michael Clapham from Manchester.
Yeah, I've got my tongue out. It's been out for about a minute. There's another minute though, right?
You got to seal it off with your tongue. You got to,
My lips.
seal it off.
It's still
Yeah,
good.
I don't think it's one for us to do live. We can do it during a record and try it out. Have you got another one?
Seems quite nice. This is from Lauren. She's a girl from Yorkshire. Dear Adam and Joe, I heard your show for the first time yesterday on the podcast as my boyfriend listens to your show regularly. Anyway, I thought you were... Oh, no, this is the wrong thing. I'm so sorry. Hang on a second.
Do you want me to jump in here?
My
Jump
page
in
numbers
here?
have come out of whack.
Do you need me to jump in?
No, I got it.
I wanted to jump in.
All good. You can jump in if you want.
Don't
man.
want to anymore.
This is from... jump in.
I'm going to jump
Yeah,
in.
jump
Lou
in.
from Bradford, who is a girl, says, Dear Adam and Joe, while going to sleep, I slip my little toe in and out of the two largest toes on the opposite foot. I repeat, I slip my little toe on one foot in and out of the two largest toes on the opposite foot. I find it soothing.
I do that, yeah.
That sounds nice to me.
That is nice. Here's one from Janine Schroff. And she says, I like to take a small but long strip of hair, left side of head only, and always the same bit of hair. I can always find it. And run my fingers down, not through it, until it's perfectly smooth and silky. Then I like to loop the strip with one hand only, then stroke the back of my left ear once, and then the back of my neck once with the smooth loop. Sometimes, after much smoothening, is that a word? Yes, it is. I like to stick the strand backwards over my ear, almost a Princess Leia, but more crazy. And then I make my girlfriend look at it and force her to praise me insincerely. Then I start smoothening it again. If it's not perfectly smooth, the sensation is ruined! Toodles, Janine. Thanks very much, Janine.
That's a good
nice...
fiddle. Thank you very much to everybody who sent in their fiddles. There'll be a new Text the Nation subject coming up very soon.
Yeah, here's the Beastie Boys right now. This is Make Some Noise. Oh, remix there. That was the Beastie Boys with Make Some Noise. Adam and Joe here on BBC Six Music. It's getting summery. It's not so summery today. the country's getting some much-needed rainfall.
Much needed.
It's good for the farmers. They've had a very
It's been
dry...
the hottest April since records began.
Yeah, and the earth needs a little bit of moisturising, so that's nice. But the summer is on its way, and with it, festival season, and BBC Six Music are going to be representing to the max at the mighty Glastonbury Festival this year. Here's just some of the bands you can look forward to hearing from there. U2.
Oh.
I want reactions to all of these, Joe.
Whoa.
The Coldplay. Beyonce.
That's not my opinion, actually, because I quite like Beyonce.
Sure. Primal Scream. Chemical Brothers.
Oi.
Queens of the Stone Age.
Sorry.
Fleet Foxes.
No, what?
Laura.
That's-
There you have to move on.
It's fine.
Laura Marling. What was that happening
I
to
was
that
just
duck?
wandering past a pond.
Sure. And I think we're going to be there as well. In fact, we're going to be finishing our sort of season, whatever you want to call it, our run of shows.
Our summer season on the pier.
Is going to be finishing. We're going to be doing 3 shows, I think. Friday morning, afternoon.
I'm very
Saturday and
excited.
Sunday. So am I. It's
I
always
cannot
fun.
wait. I've got a feeling in my bones it's going to be a very good one.
A classic one.
A classic one.
Bit of rain, bit of sunshine. I'm sure U2 and Coldplay will play a blinder. And
Joy and pain, sunshine and rain.
that's all you need, isn't it? In fact, Lauren Laverne was there yesterday at Worthy Farm, home of the Evis family. And if you missed the show, you can listen again on the iPlayer, of course. And Lauren kicked off our Glastonbury coverage kind of early, we have to say. Even though, you know, it's just May now. Glastonbury is going to be taking place on the 24th and to the 26th of June. For the 3rd year running, Six Music will be there. And hope to see you down there. But here is something that happened at Lauren's show. It was the Guillemots. They were playing live for the programme. And this is their cover. I'm assuming it's a cover of the Beatles' Tomorrow Never Knows. Guillemots there, live on Lauren Laverne's show yesterday on BBC Six Music. That's their cover of Tomorrow Never Knows. Adam and Joe here on Six Music. Now, Joe, you're a Bronholm fan, right?
I love Pierce Brosnan.
I mean, I think it's safe to say we both love Bronholm, but you're a particular aficionado of his noises and
Yes.
exhortations.
Yes.
Mainly the non-verbal ones. I mean, not
I
non-verbal,
like every noise he makes.
non-sort of... The more articulate, or the less articulate, the better, really, from Bronholm. He articulates
He's a terribly good grunter.
with his grunts. Sure.
Yeah, and when it comes to playing Bond in particular, it's very important to grunt if you're doing something, exerting some sort of effort.
Yeah.
Killing someone, saying something witty,
Getting
hauling
tortured.
yourself up. Yeah.
It's a trick that Craig
My name's
misses.
Bond. Yeah.
Did you ever see the film Taffin?
I've heard of the film Taffin.
Early Bronholm.
80s.
1988. He is an Irish tough guy debt collector asked by his local community to help rid the town of developers bent on building a chemical plant
Damn
on the
developers.
outskirts of town.
What now? Why did you end up watching Taffin?
Well, last weekend I did a gig. It was called Sod Cancer, and it was a charity thing. And I was there with a lot of wonderful comedians. And in the green room, we were bantering after we went on and did our sets. And I was talking to lovely Dave Armand and Justin Edwards, and they were talking about Taffin. I was and saying, "Oh yeah, I watched Taffin." I was like, "Why did you watch Taffin?" And they called up this clip on YouTube. And I understood why they'd watched Taffin. Here is Bronholm delivering a line in just about the most extraordinary way conceivable, in only the way that Bronholm can. And it sounds as if, like, at the beginning of this very short clip, he's saying it's none of your business or something, and the word business is cut off. That's the way it actually appears in the film. It's not just a quirk of the clip. Here he is.
What goes on in this town is none of your business.
As long as I'm living here, it is.
Then maybe you shouldn't be living here!
Ooh, that's a good way to make a point.
That's good, isn't it?
Yeah,
They
I
would
mean,
have
he's
been happy.
shouting and he's elongating.
So you're a director, right? What would you? How would you feel once?
That'd be great. Cut.
Bronholm-
Move on.
Exactly.
Done. In the bag. In the can.
Would you ask him to try it any other ways?
No,
I mean,
can I hear it again even? Can we please hear it again?
just
What
do-
goes on in this town is none of your business.
As long as I'm living here, it is.
Then maybe you shouldn't be living here!
I like that it's what she just said right back at
elongated. Then maybe you should have been living here.
We don't know what's the context. We don't know the context. Maybe that kind of emotion is justified. Is it? What's going down in Taffin when that? Why?
I think it's in the last third of the film, and things are getting tense. And
Clearly,
maybe you shouldn't be. Like, what other ways could he have said the line? He presumably
other
he
way?
started. Do you think he built to that pitch and started? Well, and maybe you shouldn't be living here.
well, that's. I
Started
mean,
like that, and then built it up. Then
Yeah.
maybe you shouldn't be living here. Then maybe you shouldn't be living here.
no. That's. I mean, no.
How does he do it then?
He's absolutely at the end of his tether.
Sure.
As you know, as a director, and I know all about acting.
Yeah.
And what he's doing there is.
Fine. Don't generally listen to this.
What's
program.
happening?
That's someone else.
He's pushing it right to the very edge, and the next thing as an actor he would do is burst into tears.
Right.
There's nowhere else to go there. And they go, I'm so unhappy. That's the next thing you do on the
Then
acting
maybe you
spectrum.
shouldn't be living here.
There is another thing he could do is
Or he could
just
vomit.
start smashing everything up at that point, just freaking out and punching people, throwing furniture around, throwing vases, headbutting windows, just going and doing a raspberry. That's what
cry
Brando would do.
and then puke
Yes.
on himself. Let's just have him once more on his own again, James.
Then maybe you shouldn't be living here!
It's good, isn't it? That's another reason we're becoming such excellent wacky Saturday morning DJs. Like repeatedly playing clips and stuff. We could drop that clip in like unexpectedly later in the show.
I think that's a good idea.
That's a good idea.
That's exactly what's going to happen. Here's Talking Heads. This is Blind.
It's time for Song Wars, the war of the songs. A couple of tunes by a couple of prongs. Which will you vote for? Which one is the best? We're putting our songs to the listener test, so check it out.
So, yes, just over a week ago, Willie and Katie were married and the nation celebrated, and we composed songs in their honour here on the Adam and Joe BBC Six Music programme, and we asked you to vote for which one you liked best. We played them in full on last week's show, and thank you very much indeed for emailing throughout the week with your votes. Here's just a few of the comments that came in. We've been handed these by James, so he has offered us a couple of comments for our songs each, so we don't know how the voting has gone, or it's been kind of kept from us, although a few of them trickled through in some of the emails I noticed.
I think I've got a good sense of how it's gone.
Well, the only ones that I read throughout the week were voting for Joe's.
I disagree. I saw nothing but people voting for you, and I saw
Really?
tweets
Did you?
saying how hilarious the Queen's Laura song was.
Here, why don't you-
I haven't finished yet. And on the blog, which I look
Nonsense,
at...
nonsense,
Hey,
nonsense.
hey, you don't know whether this is nonsense. On the blog, a lot of people posting comments on the blog underneath these songs were voting for the Queen.
I didn't see that.
I just think people have a lot of respect for Her Madge.
Sure they do.
And when they hear her singing in that way, they respect her and wish to vote for her because they're good patriotic citizens. Alternatively, should the song by the Queen turn out to be a treasonous, ribald spoof, then he who sang such a song should be executed for treason.
Have his crown jewels chopped off.
Yes.
Well, a few people I noticed emailing in and saying, you know, I only started listening to the show recently, and I don't understand why the Queen sounds
Well,
like
this
a kind
program
of-
has reached the point where it now alienates anybody who hasn't been listening for a year.
There's so much to explain now.
There's not room for any more passengers on board.
No, not really.
Wait for the next bus.
So it's a long story why the Queen sounds like that. She just does, all right?
It's because she presented Blind Date for years. But yeah, here are some balanced responses.
You read out the ones for mine, I'll read out the ones for yours.
Okay, but I've got a different one for mine for the second one because, you know, this is another indicator that maybe I've lost because this one doesn't really talk about my song.
Oh, right.
It just happens to say my name in it.
It says from Jenny Ross, woo, go Joe. Me and my friends just returned from a Duke of Edinburgh expedition that we got through by singing your jingles and doing impressions of you. Thanks for the entertainment. We love you guys. Yeah, you're right. She's
It's
just
not really talking about my song. Here's one from Yasser M in Canada. Adam clearly won. His mastery of the English language and complete ignorance of the Queen's actual voice made his song truly sensational.
Here's one from Steph in Redcar. It was a very hard choice. I decided to let my parrot Charlie choose which one to vote for, and although she danced to both, she danced more to Joe's. Sorry, Adam.
You see, so all I get is somebody who's actually not writing about the song and a parrot.
Well, I should have
Wait,
kept some of the ones I read during the week. Sorry, you've got
Here's
one.
another one for you from Jay in London. This is the best song Adam has ever written. I think it should be the national anthem once the Prince of Wales becomes king.
Yeah, I mean, I swear to you, I read
Prince
so
of Wales.
so many more that was said. There was one very rude one, actually, from a guy saying they were both rubbish. He didn't use the word rubbish, but I would definitely go for Joe's. Lots of people really enjoyed Joe's. But we have the envelope here with the official results.
And what an
collated.
envelope. This is the first Song Wars envelope we've had for a while, and some real effort has been put in by James and Lucy and Tom, our team. It's in a properly sealed envelope, which says confidential, property of the Big British Castle. It's properly addressed with a 6 Music sticker.
Yep.
I'm going to open it now. This is very exciting.
Joe is removing the results from the envelope.
Joe gets 41%. Adam 59.
Oh, just scrapes
Count
it.
Buckley's is the winner. I got a bigger vote than I thought I'd get.
You know what? I got quite depressed yesterday reading all the comments because I swear to you, I literally only read ones where people loved your song and were voting for that one. I just thought, I'm going to get trounced. I can't believe it. I killed myself doing that song. But luckily, it's turned out fine.
So now my song is going to be erased from history. Black Squadron squads will be visiting your house, kicking in your front door.
But that is a close result. So, you know,
demagnetizing your hard drives to get rid of my song.
I'm very grateful to everyone.
I think your song
voted.
is disgusting.
Yeah.
And insulting to the Queen.
My parents-in-law said, is your song disrespectful? They said, what are you doing on your radio program this week? I said, we're doing, because I don't think they
My
listen
dad
to the
said
show.
something along those lines as well.
I said, we're doing songs for Kate and Wills.
He said, don't be too cruel.
Exactly. Well, they said, I hope it's not disrespectful. And I'm not sure if they're
Mums and dads know the bottom line.
Republicans or not, but I said, no,
I think it's disrespectful and disgusting, and I don't think we should play it.
Well, here it
We
is.
should play mine instead.
And now, my lords, ladies and gentlemen, performing her own special musical tribute of a happy couple, Her Royal Maj Highness, the Queen.
Once upon a time in a lolly university lived a lolly couple called the Willie and Kater. They fell in love when Katie showed her pants at a party, and then they went on telly to appear on Blind Data. If you were a princess, what kind were you, boy? I'll be a really lolly one, I promise you, your majesty. I won't fix introductions for suitcases of money, or do a sketch on Red Nose Day, even if it's really funny. Thanks a Laura Chuck, that sounds good to me. Graham, slide the curtain back, I think we'll go for Katie. Willie and Katie, Katie and Willie. You're going to have a Laura lolly life, just don't be silly. Kate and Prince of Willis, Will and Princess Kate. Just follow my instructions, please, I am the head of state. Don't get a stupid butler who rifles through your pants. He'll end up in the jungle with Declan and the ants. Stay clear of Piers Morgan and on the sleazy bed. Don't wanna see Andy Morton or Martin Bashir again. Sometimes the life of a princess can be a royal pain in the parts. Oh, lolly Katie, meeting boring people, asking what they do, pretending that you're interested, smiling for the cameras too. When all you want to do is say you're all boring farts, Willie and Katie, Katie and Willie. Welcome, lolly Katie, to a happy family. Kate and Prince of Willis, Will and Princess Kate. A Laura, lolly couple out of Blind Data. Katie, 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 Willie, Willie, Wills. Don't dress up as Nazis, don't get hooked on pills. Katie's on a plated and Willie's on a cup. There's a lot of people watching you, so please don't screw this up.
Imagine Kate and...
Awful.
Well,
insulting, awful. So rude. I mean, they're young. couple getting married. They had no choice. The Queen has worked so hard over all. She's such a modest, respected woman, and I just think that's so disgusting and sad, that song.
Oh, come on.
Hey! She's back in the studio. No, I love it. I think it's brilliant.
Got a lot of wedding bedding.
She sounds a bit tired. It's been an exhausting week.
So tired. All the lovely cars and presents coming in. Put me in a good special place for presents. Thank you for the presents. Oh, not tis mad. Oh, thank you. Yes?
Seeing as you're here, where can you reveal any royal scoops? Do you know where the couple will be going for their honeymoon?
Yeah, I got Centre Parks. It's nice there, a big dome in it. And lovely swimming pool.
That's very exciting.
There's other parks available.
There's space in all parks.
There's other parks that's available with a dome in it.
And they must have made a mess. Was it tough clearing up after the party?
Oh, it's a lot of mess, mate. Chuck, sorry. Lovely couple. Loads of cups and bits of wood.
Were there any wine stains on the wallpaper or anything bad?
There's a lot of vomiting on the carpet from the Duke or Prince of Edinburgh, Willies, and there's to scrub and get that off.
Did you do some of that scrubbing yourself, Your Madge?
Oh, my scrubber. What? When it comes to stains, that is. What, Laura, boy?
Disgusting and insulting. Here's Justice with Civilization.
Justice, they are French from France. Did you know?
Yeah, I did know. I very much like their song Stress. That's got an incredible video. Have you ever seen the video for
that
Stress
Roman
by
Gavras.
Justice? Yeah. It's quite scary.
Yes.
But it's amazingly clever and really cool.
Is it?
Yeah.
It's just got lots of yobs running around beating people up and
that would be a very, very superficial interpretation of it.
Nonsense!
Yes, please. Come on, James, you've got to be hotter on the button now. No, it's too late. If we're going to be a wacky Saturday morning show, you've got to have your big fluffy jingle buttons
Then
ready.
maybe you shouldn't be living here! Nonsense!
No, you see, this is terrible. That's a pile-up. We're no good at being wacky Saturday morning DJs.
We've got Textination coming up in a few minutes, but first, it's 11:30 here on Six Music and time for the news.
This is very distorted.
It's very sloppy.
Doesn't it need to be digitally remastered?
All over the place. They're not going to amount to a hill of beans, that lot.
Of boobs.
A tiny hill of boobs. That's what they might amount to. That's the Who. Whoever they are. It's funny because, of course, they're a big band.
Listeners, I'm ignoring you. Listeners, it's now time for this week's Text the Nation.
Text the Nation. Text the Nation.
What if I don't want to?
Text the Nation.
But I'm using email. Is that a problem?
It doesn't matter, text.
And Text the Nation is the part of the show, listeners, when we give you a subject and you text it in to us what you think about it. And the text number is 64046. The email is adamandjoe.sixmusic@bbc.co.uk.
Now, sometimes on Text the Nation, we have a subject that generates so much correspondence that it seems criminally, ludicrously insane just to leave it alone there. And about 2 years ago, we did a thing on Text the Nation about public pretending, we called it. Little games you play with yourself when you're out and about, just to, sort of charades you play. How would you describe it, Joe?
Well, it's sort of the theatre of public spaces, isn't it? And for instance, some of the good ones I remember from last time are if you're waiting for a friend in a particular public place, the friend doesn't turn up, and you start getting self-conscious about why you're standing there. Or, for instance, if you're in a restaurant alone, waiting to order, but your friend hasn't turned up, you might do some quite exaggerated watch looking at.
Yes, well, here
or
is
some table tapping to make it clear to everyone around you that you're waiting for somebody.
Bit of public pretending. Here's Lauren. She's a girl from Yorkshire, and she's a new listener to the show. She says, "Hi, Adam and Joe. I heard your show for the first time yesterday on the podcast as my boyfriend listens to your show regularly. Anyway, I thought you were very funny, and you reminded me of odd things I do as well. Here are a few. When in an area in which I feel unsafe, I pretend that I am an undercover policewoman and talk into my collar, so people will think I'm covering some important police job and I've got backup. I have actually done this and consider myself to be a normal person. And now I've written it down, it seems a bit mentile. When my parents wouldn't allow me to have a dog, here's another example. When my parents wouldn't allow me to have a dog, I got over it by perusing the dog food aisle in supermarkets so that people would at least think I had a dog. I'm bored and I have a hangover, says Lauren.
I like the talking into your colour one. That's very good. I've got a confession to make. I used to, years ago, I had a charger for my little MP3 player in my car, and it plugged into the cigarette lighter, and it had one of those windy cables.
Sure.
And if I saw someone driving very badly or someone I was angry with, I would hold my phone in my hand and I would use the wiry cord to stretch between my hand and the dashboard, and I'd talk into it as if I was a policeman. And it used to work because there's something about the wiry cord
Looks official.
that looks official.
You must have
And people
training.
would look at me and then look again and look frightened and
got a wiry
move
cord.
away. He's a police. He's an undercover policeman. He's got a loopy cord.
Only the fuzz brigade have got the springy cords.
That's pathetic, isn't it? And I used to feel so pathetic after I did it. But then when people gave me the double take, I used to think, yes!
They were doing a double take thinking, that Wally thinks he's a policeman.
Wally. That Wally thinks he's a
There's a
policeman.
Wally. Hey, look, darling, there's a Wally over there. He thinks he's a cop.
They'd be right. Here's one from Rianne Owens. Hi, Adam and Joe. I thought a good idea for Text the Nation one week might be secret competition. So that's a sort of another way of saying public pretending.
It's a little subsection.
I was chatting to my brother about how sometimes I start races with other people in the general public. For example, if I get off the train at the same time as someone else, I think, I'll race you to the top of the stairs. And I get very competitive, even though the other person doesn't know they're in a race. My brother replied that he used to have a race called the Notting Hill Gate Derby. It had rules like no running and a start and finish line. Thought this might be a fun thing to ask the listeners. So that's public pretending. You're pretending you're in a race with your fellow commuters up the escalator to make your commute more exciting.
Yeah, they don't know about it and you do. The other thing I used to do, which maybe I talked about last time we did this, was a little similar to yours. And it's a tactic I use sometimes to avoid conversations with taxi drivers. You know, you get into a black cab. And what I used to do when I used to live in London and took more black cabs was listen to my MP3 player or whatever, but then I would make notes as if I was a kind of A&R guy. And I'm so busy, I've got to make notes about all the things I'm listening to. This is a good band. Gonna go far. We got to get them for the label. That kind of thing.
What?
Because
would you be like nodding your head along to the music?
That kind of thing. I'd be
So it's all designed to...
good lyrics. This band gonna be big.
Yeah.
That
So,
kind of thing.
so you're aiming it at the driver. So you're assuming he's going to look in the wing mirror,
He's gonna
and
think-
he sees this man nodding his head with his headphones in, making notes.
Exactly. Oh, I better not talk to that geezer because he's a busy A&R man from a big record company. So I won't spout my racist drivel this time. I'll just let him get on with it.
Would you be actually making notes, writing things down?
Obviously, not all taxi drivers are racist. That was a little bit of a reductive characterization.
Would you be making real notes?
Sometimes I did make notes. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so you get the general idea, listeners. The text number is 64046. The email is adamandjoe.6music@bbc.co.uk for our second visit to the extraordinary, mysterious, interior world of public pretending.
And now it's time to head to the Appalachian Mountains and listen to some lovely Fleet Foxes. This is Grown Ocean.
Yeah, they've been out sucking on licorice canes and kindling wood that they got from an old Indian man with a crow on his hat.
Good singing there, fellas. Somebody put the beans on.
Cook up a mess of catfish and grits. We'll go skinny dipping in the gulch.
I'm gonna make a new guitar out of this old turtle. I found an old turtle. I'm gonna make a guitar out of it and write a song about turtles.
I'm gonna go fetch me some snake oil and then pour it on a jackrabbit. And then hang out with the crazy priest from Sassafras.
He's turned into the chap from Silence of the Lambs.
Oh, wait.
Yeah, that guy.
Is she a great big fat person? Oh, wait, the guy from Fleet Foxes?
Yeah. Are they the same people?
Oh, I think maybe...
Say the thing about the basket.
It puts the lotion in the basket. Put lotion in the basket!
The Fleet Foxes could never change their sound, really, could they?
Oh, wait. Is she a great big fat person?
Not really. I mean, well, they change. There's subtle changes.
Are there subtle changes between that album and the previous album?
Yeah.
They've got the same echo. They've got a very particular acoustic. They record all their albums in the same cave in the Appalachian Mountains.
That's right. Bit of Fleet Foxes fun there here on BBC Six Music. Now, you know what I would really like to hear? is some kind of a trail about a show that's coming up on this station. How about it?
It'll never happen. Where's my keyboard when I need it?
Oh, man.
I could have enormously enhanced the closing passages of this song.
Enormously enhanced my closing passengers. What? That still sounds like the future, though, that song, don't you think?
It does. It certainly does.
I mean, do you think young people, some of this phantom 17 to 25 demographic that apparently loves this show, do you think they're listening to that and thinking, boy, that sounds like Grandad music? I can't believe they are, because to me it sounds like solid gold future powder.
Good.
Depeche Mode there, of course. This is Adam and Joe here on BBC Six Music.
It was a beautiful weekend last weekend across most of the country, and there was an atmosphere of great celebration. But in my neighbourhood in South London, this resulted in a local person having a party. Mm-hmm. And an outdoor party that started at about... in fact, it was going when I got back from this programme at about 2 p.m, 2:30 p.m.
Always good.
And I'll tell you a bit more about that in a second, but here's a text we received from an anonymous correspondent. Please, Adam and Joe, please help me. My neighbours a few doors away have a very powerful PA system, and last night decided to test how loud it could go while having a karaoke party till 2 in the morning in the garden. My house is double glazed, my walls have been cavity insulated, my loft space has a huge amount of insulation in it, all doors and windows were shut, and yet still, the noise level penetrating through my entire house was akin to being in a tent at a festival very close to the main stage. Being a fairly responsible parent, I was unable to aid mine or my children's sleep, the way festival goers do, and instead the three of us had to suffer, lying in bed, being subjected to banging beats and appalling singing, while desperately trying to blot out the horrendous noise using television and headphones. Today we're all very tired and still rage-filled at their idiotic audacity. Besides pleading to two well-respected comic geniuses, it's very nice of you, don't know who you're talking about,
Mitchell and Webb, I think.
filmmakers and DJs such as yourself, what can I do? And so there is an anonymous plea, and that struck a chord with me, because last weekend when I got home from the show, literally my entire neighbourhood, like 3 or 4 blocks, were pounding with dreadful Eurohouse.
All from one place?
Yeah. And as I got out of the car, I spotted my neighbour, who's a gentleman in his 70s or even early 80s. Yeah. Lovely man, quite ill recently, but he was walking around clearly trying to find the source of this noise, because my neighbourhood is like a little echo chamber, and it's quite hard to tell where the music might be coming from.
Bouncing off all the walls.
So I ran along and caught up with him, and eventually we cut through some gardens and got to the source of this noise. And my house backs on the garden of my house. There's lots of, it's almost like a giant set of allotments, you know, divided into, you know what London gardens are like. You get lots of
all
them
backing onto each other.
Yeah, exactly. So we eventually found the garden where this noise was coming from, and the sight that met our eyes was basically one man, a dog and a baby in a quite large garden, and he'd set up a table. He was obviously building up for his big Barbie. And he had also a PA system, and this seems to be a new thing, like a proper massive club-sized speaker that he'd run out from his kitchen. And he was just playing utterly deafening, dreadful Eurohouse, funky house. So I started shouting. I kind of stood up on a wall and I started shouting, "Can you turn it down? Can you turn it down, please?" And I had to shout at the top of my voice. I could only just be heard.
Whoa.
And he had a little sort of trilby, you know, and shorts, and he turned around and looked at me as if I was some sort of
mental case,
aggressive nutcase. Yeah. And he was like, What? I was like, "Turn that down. You're ruining everyone's weekend. There's families around here. You're deafening the entire neighbourhood." And this guy starts getting angry at me.
Right.
As if I am some sort of fascist man.
That's Torpedo Commander Cornish, the party pooper, notorious in this area.
I blame the Beastie Boys for releasing the track Fight for Your Right to Party, because this guy started to sort of get agitated and self-righteous, as if he had the right to play this incredibly loud. And literally in every house for 3 or 4 blocks, you couldn't hear yourself think.
You need to fight for your right to stop the party.
Cups were vibrating and everything. Anyway, that doesn't really have much of a punchline
What
in
did
this
he do? I
story.
mean, but-
well, eventually he turned it down.
Yeah.
And then his girlfriend came out looking very indignant with her hand on her hips.
Why is the Euro House being
Yeah.
turned down?
And her
Francois?
question was, why are you shouting at us? The answer to which was, because you're playing music so loudly that even to have the most basic communication, I have to yell at the top of my
We're
voice.
part of a community,
And she was going,
guys.
why can't we have a party? What's wrong with having a party? What, don't we have a right to have a party? And you start to think, and I'm a bit divided about this because I love a good party, but at the same time,
I love a bad one.
It's weird, isn't it, that people seem to think that that one individual's right to have an amazingly good time supersedes
Exactly.
everyone else's right to choose whether to have a good time or not.
Right.
I just wondered whether any listeners had any techniques for diffusing or dealing with that kind of thing, because I do feel myself being on both sides of the argument a bit. I don't want to be a party pooper,
But
at the same time, I don't think one individual has the right to impose their party on an entire 6 or 7 blocks of South London.
Absolutely. And then conversely, do you not find that when you're at parties, at friends' houses, and they're cranking it way up,
And you can't hear each other speak.
and that's annoying, but also you feel bad for the neighbours yourself.
There's nothing you can do about it because you call the council and they do nothing. You've got to. They tell you, well, do a diary and write down every time this happens. And if it happens like consistently for about 10 weeks, then you might have a case.
Noisy nightmare neighbours.
There's nothing you can do. People seem to be able to just.
The only thing you can do is just try and go round there and reason with them and not lose
But
your
that's what
temper.
I'm after. Tactics, good tactics to reason with people.
It's outrageous. I can't enjoy myself at a party if the music is that loud, and I think people are being...
You know what we should become? We should become DJs at a music station because we love music so much.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Let's do that. And we could play stuff like this. This is Two Door Cinema Club. Two Door Cinema Club. I Can Talk. Adam and Joe here on BBC Six Music, and we've just pushed through the noon barrier. She's going to thank you for naming her rock and roll, mate. It's just a tip. That's The Seed with... the track is called The Seed, isn't it? That's by Roots with Cody Chestnut there. Adam and Joe here on BBC Six Music. Let's have some travelling tales. Fire off the jingle, James. Why not?
Travelling tales, tales of travelling on a train or an automobile or an aeroplane. I want to know what your travelling tales.
All aboard the Skylark!
Yep. Here's a message right now from Tom Disney. He's a mailman from Liverpool. Male human man. He says, recently, whilst I sat on the bus, I felt a drop of water land on my head. Nearly every bus in Liverpool is old and leaky, and as it was raining, I didn't think much of it. Then I felt something trickle down my neck and back, which was warm. Turning
This
round,
doesn't sound good.
Turning around, I was met with the sight of a big German shepherd, a dog, not a man, that had climbed up on the seat behind me with its head above mine, slowly drooling. I froze with disgust as the dog proceeded to lick my face. The owner just sat there smiling, staring ahead with a faint smile. I don't mind dogs, but animal drool is several steps too far. I went mad, and in my rage, the only thing I could shout was, "Bus chairs are for humans, not dog seats!" Which doesn't make much sense. But she had the cheek to reply, "If you got a problem," I'm going to do a Liverpool accent. "If you got a problem, go sit somewhere else."
When are you going to do the Liverpool accent?
I don't know, maybe never. I wasn't able to think of a comeback. So I did go and sit somewhere else. I felt sick for the rest of the day. Tom Disney.
Was he wearing his MP3 headphones, do you think? Because I don't believe that.
You don't reckon?
I think if a huge German Shepherd was...
You'd hear it?
Yeah, you'd be conscious of it. You'd smell it. And I mean, imagine if it was Boggins. Do you remember Boggins, the dog that used to come into this studio?
Yeah, vaguely. Yeah.
Remember the smell? Imagine if it was Boggins. I mean, you would not have to wait for Boggins to dribble down your neck.
Well,
before
you'd know
you
it
were
was
aware of his
Boggins
presence.
immediately because he'd be biting the back of your legs and, doing a little...
Yeah,
pop.
and the stench. I mean, the
Exactly.
stench would be extraordinary.
You don't believe that? I mean...
Well, unless he had his MP3 headphones in,
Right.
then you're sort of totally cut off to everything, aren't you?
You don't want a German Shepherd drool down your back.
Yucky doodles.
That's a
Give
bit
us another
much.
one.
Well, a lot of people have been communicating about conductors.
Oh, the announcement we played last week. We played a clip of an announcement someone had recorded on a train, the guy that tells you what station's coming up, and no one could tell whether this chap was a robot or a human.
Let's just remind ourselves.
Gentlemen, very good evening. Your Barcode is your 1821 Southern service to Tasman Fauna. With service now paused at Breedham, Smetham, Woodenston, Chipstead, Kingswood, Tadworth and Tadman Corner.
Tadman Corner. He doesn't like that station very much. And Tadman Corner.
Lucy Carruthers says, I was delighted to hear the train carriage footage on your show last week. It brought back happy memories. I've shared that same real person. He's not a robot. He's a driver or a conductor on a last train from London Bridge to Peckham Rye, or as he announced it, Peckham Rye. He's the best train driver ever, and he succeeded in making me laugh. Apologies for said laughter on the attached sound file. Are we playing the one with the laughter? Okay, here it is.
So she's recorded him as well?
Yeah, a little clip.
Cool.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your Southern service to Norwood Junction. The next station stowing Peckham Rye.
That's good. Is that the same guy?
How does he say that? The next station stop will be Peckham Rye.
Is that the same guy? Is this the same guy?
Yeah, same
on the
bloke.
same train. Wow, this guy's amazing. Can we hear that once more?
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your Southern service to Norwood Junction. The next station stowing Peckham Rye.
That is insane. The next station
He's got
stop will be
skills.
Peckham
He should be on
Rye.
Six Music. He should genuinely be on... He should come and do... Can we make contact with that guy? Because he has got a voice for radio. And those are skills. That kind of intonation is not easy to do. And he's applying a lot of voiceover skills. He's elongating, he's curtailing, he's distributing emphasis in a peculiar manner.
He could be the ident king.
He's old school, he's new school. He's got so much skill there, and it really should be tapped.
Here's a message from Matt. He says, Dear Adam and Joe, your bit last week about the train announcement reminded me of a ticket collector on the Shrewsbury train to Birmingham... Sorry, the Shrewsbury to Birmingham line that has its own catchphrase. I recorded this a few months ago. He regularly uses the phrase, enjoy your train travels, as a catchphrase, so much so that regular travellers feel let down if they don't get it at the end of the line. Here's a little clip of him in action.
All exits out of Birmingham New Street Station. This is Birmingham. All change here, please. Have a pleasant day and enjoy your train travels.
He does a little gap there, a little
Your
pause
train
for effect.
travels.
And enjoy your train travels.
Man, do you think that the railway network is a secret reservoir of extraordinarily
Of course it is.
talented vocal stylies?
I mean, you get this a lot on planes as well. When
you
you're
used to get it in buses. Sorry to steamroller. You used to get it on buses in the 70s, I remember, when they had conductors.
Yeah.
I remember as a child there was one that used to go around going, get your hair cut, get your hair cut,
That's
get your hair
right.
cut. And you would look forward to these charismatic guys. Like,
Character conductors.
Kind of like a Butlins guy on a coach or making your journey more fun, Bose. But to do it on the PA system, that's super cool because then you can employ all sorts of special tonal delivery techniques.
Yeah. Well, you know, if you want to record your favourite crazy conductor, then send in. Now we're like, that's life.
That's cool. And tell us what train they're on, because you never know. I mean, this could build into something.
Yeah, exactly. We'd
I
like
don't
to
know
know
what.
And maybe, you know, you could even go further and go and talk to the guy yourself and
get a little snap.
Ask him what his name is and stuff. So
give us his catchphrase,
so we can give some of these people their props.
I mean, British Rail don't exist anymore, which is a shame. The same company own all the tracks, do they? Is there some sort of unified company? I don't know, but if there were, they could have a sort of website which would have pictures of all their charismatic train hosts and their catchphrases. You know. They could put... I don't know. I'm going to stop now. I just shut down.
That's good, though. We want to hear from you about any of those people. No! Stop it! No!
Who's that? I was talking about the guy last week on the phone, on the cinema phone line.
Oh, I got Ben Kingsley coming back.
Oh, sexy beast.
No! Stop it! Yes, Gil! Yes! Gal. No, he's called, isn't
Gail.
he? Gal.
Gal
is short for Gary, isn't it? I just suddenly worked that out.
is it? I thought it was Gail, G-A-L-E.
No, it's Gal.
Oh, really? I
Yes.
thought it was quite cool that he had a sort of weirdly feminine
That's right.
name
I
for
could
such a
never
macho
understand what he
guy.
was- We're talking about Sexy Beast, by the way. I could never understand that. Why are they calling him Gail? But no, it's Gal, short for Gary.
Fancy a little bit of Gomez?
I'd love some Gomez, yes, please.
Here we are then, Options. That was Gomez with, what was he called, Options?
Sorry.
This is Adam and Joe on BBC Six Music. It is, I'm going to do a time check. Are you excited?
Love it.
It's 16 minutes past noon.
16 minutes past noon.
Yes, sir.
Way through the noon barrier.
45 minutes left of our show here. Lots of fun still to come. We might be doing some made-up jokes in a second, but first...
I'm going to throw a can from this side of the room to the other, see if I can get it in that bin.
Nobody cares about that.
Come on, this is good radio. Damn it.
Missed. You put Coca-Cola all over the window.
That was awful, wasn't
That was
it? Look, it
awful.
just
The whole
sprayed all
thing's
over.
an utter
What a
disaster.
yob. just a kind of a segue from the travelling tales. Someone sent in the jingle that they have in France on the rail network, on the SNCF. Do you know that jingle? Let me remind you, this is what you hear on the railways in France before they make an announcement on the platforms. Do you recognise that?
Way. I haven't. I must have not been on a train in France for ages, because that sounds almost Japanese.
Right. I mean, I think I recognise that. I think that's been around for a few years.
It sounds like Oudanon. Play it once more. Oudanon.
That's nice, isn't it? But here's a message from James and Sophie, who sent that in. They live in London. And they say, Dear A. Bucks and J. Core, I'm hoping you might settle a dispute between me and my partner Sophie. She's the most magnificent creature in the universe. And in over 10 years together, we have never had a crossword except over this. It's the jingle, the SNCF station jingle in France. It is obviously made up of 4 bips. Da, 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 da. But Sophie swears it is only made up of 3. Huh? How? From Paris to Nice and back again, for over 2 years, we have never known peace on this jingle, on the point of this jingle, and it almost broke us up, as I cannot accept that she thinks it's just 3 bips. Please, can Dr. Buckles...
Hang on, what's a bip?
Like a note.
A note, yeah. Okay.
And please could Dr. Buckles and Dr. Sexy give their expert clinical opinion. Or Boggins, he says. Let's hear it one more time and count the notes that we got in there. Well, it's 4. Fundamentally 4, isn't it? So why does she think it's 3?
Well, because there's a distinction between the vocal and the accompaniment. Aren't there 2 musical notes and 4 vocal notes?
Yeah, but if you count those, it's even more.
Yeah, but they need to get their criteria straight.
Well, she, I think, is thinking that it's da, 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 da. So the last one
is...
an
extended sustained.
Has got some kind of modulation going in it or something. That's how maybe she's justifying it. But listen, James, I'm on your side with that. What about you, Doctor?
I'm on her side.
Are you on her side? You just said it was 4, though.
No.
You're changing your mind now. Listen, while I was looking up that clip on the internet, I came across this amazing bit of techno created by someone. I can't figure out who it was by, and I really searched hard. It was uploaded onto YouTube by a guy called Tuning 150, and it's a really nice parody of Kraftwerk meets Air, using that SNCF jingle as a bass. And I thought I might play it for you this afternoon as one of my free plays. Here it is. Sounds like a little girl with a flower and a balloon on a bike. It's actually Lauren Laverne. And that was from around 10 years ago.
Wow.
With Mint Royale there. What popular TV show theme did Mint Royale create, Joe?
My hearties. I'm having a
pirate R. I haven't had a pirate R for a long time.
I've no idea.
The
Biker
Priory!
Grove? Was it Biker Grove?
The Priory!
Is it Biker Grove?
The theme to the Priory!
What's the Priory?
The Priory with Zoe Ball and Jamie Theakston.
No one remembers
the Priory.
We went on the Priory.
Yeah, no one remembers.
The Priory!
And we had to, don't you remember, we had like water pistols and we had to water pistol a big cardboard cutout of Posh
Anyway,
Spice.
enough of that. No.
Priory!
No.
Come on, bring it back.
We had an email that we read out earlier from a lady who was had an upsetting weekend because of very loud noise from her neighbours. Her name was Wendy in Plymouth. Hello, Wendy. And I was also telling you about my very loud noise experience, and I was asking people for techniques to deal with extremely loud parties when you're a bit divided about it, like me. You like parties, but you don't really want to have one.
Yeah.
Then, I like to choose when I have my parties.
Sure you do.
Anyway,
Come on then, Jeremy Vine.
Yeah, here are 1 or 2 bits of advice that have come from various people. Now, where's the really good one? Oh, no.
There was quite an amazing tactic that someone sent through, some complicated lie that they told, and they got into an exchange with their neighbours.
I'm going to come back to this because I had such a good email and it's just vanished.
Is it?
It's just completely vanished.
One time, let me tell you, years ago when I moved into a very small flat, and it was one of my first flats that I ever got, and I was very excited. I had a bit of a party with some friends of mine, and there was a knock on the door from the guy that lived next door, a very nice posh gentleman, and he and his boyfriend were being kept awake by the noise coming from my groovy place. I felt really bad about it, And he was all shaking with rage because he didn't know what kind of person I was because I'd just moved in. So he didn't know, like, oh no, I've got a nightmare neighbour. He didn't realise it was just nice Dr. Buckles.
Dr. Buckules.
So anyway, the next day I left a nice bottle of wine outside.
Oh, that's very nice.
The doorstep. And after that, he was all smiles.
Hey.
And we became good buddies.
Here it is. I found it. Here's the email. Morning, Adam and Joe. Regarding your angry music neighbour, my friend Dan recently had a few of us staying over at his rural terrace with neighbours on both sides. We had the usual night in the pub, then we went back to his for a couple of post-pub wines. This led to us staying up until 4 a.m. playing unreasonably loud music.
Mate.
The next day, a note was put through the door from his neighbour telling him it was unacceptable as they had kids, etc.
Yes.
Not wanting to look like a bad neighbour, Dan wrote a note back saying that a close friend had died.
What?
And we were having a drink to remember him. The next day, Dan received another note apologising for the original complaint.
Oh, mate.
Good tactic for avoiding neighbour friction, but probably a one-use solution. That's the old 400 blows tactic, isn't it? Yeah. The way Antoine Douanel gets out of something at school by pretending his dad has died.
Yeah, he gets pretty quickly busted,
And then in
doesn't
10 minutes later, his dad turns up in the school with the headmaster, looking very angry. But that is the... Yeah, you won't. That's like DEFCON 5, isn't it? You only resort to a fictional death in extreme circumstances.
Nut. He couldn't just say sorry. It won't happen again.
Sorry. Here's another good one from Simon in Sheffield. The best thing to do is to turn up at the party with a bottle of wine, say Jim invited you, walk in bold as brass, then rip all the wires out of their music equipment and leg it over the fence. Party over, says Simon in Sheffield. I think that's quite a good bit of advice. Or here's another one. Have we got time for one more? Yeah, here is one from an anonymous texter. For a party diversion, go and knock on the door. Say that since the music was so loud, you assumed it was a public party and demand to be let in, lest they turn down the stereo. If they refuse, assume they're inviting you and proceed to be the worst party guest ever. Smash things, eat all their food, drink all their booze, tell inappropriate stories, and try and have naughty times with the girlfriend. Only leave when they promise to turn down the music. From Danny Williams, I Am a Girl, and a newly converted Slack Squadron member. We salute you, Danny. That's a good bit of advice. Any more techniques for stopping parties, do send them to us. Until then, here is the news. Watching them come and go. That's an extraordinary song. I was sort of pining to hear it, weirdly, and now I have. That was a free play. And it's amazing, isn't it? Nobody... there's something about... What was that, 80s Bowie, late 80s Bowie?
That is mid-80s Bowie.
There's something about it. I don't know. I guess I was just at the right age for it.
I mean, he was in something of a slump then as well.
Well, I know, but in retrospect, it's amazingly dramatic. And
I think he always said he loved the song. It is a great song. It's sort of overproduced.
What's it about? All that Templars and Saracen stuff. It's like Rosicrucian.
Conflicts, man. He talks about Palestine, a modern problem. Yeah.
Oh, so it is. It's about Templars. It's like about the Ottoman Empire.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Big subjects. Very grandiose delivery there from Bowie.
I loved it. And what an amazing fill. It's got a 16-beat fill. Dum 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 dum. Oh, is that 16? It's amazing.
The sky is blue.
He should duet with Brosnan.
Yeah, man.
Imagine.
Then maybe you shouldn't be living here.
That would be the most dramatic song ever written.
Let's have some made-up jokes.
I'm a funny person, I often make up jokes. My jokes are more amusing than those of other folks. When you hear my joke, I think you'll find that you agree. Come on, you're all invited to a made-up joke party.
Now, I have to announce, listeners, that I haven't actually vetted any of these jokes. I've been slack this week on account of busyness. So I will be reading my jokes for the first time. They're no reflection on my taste this week.
Oh, really? Gonna get
I'm
out
distancing
of it that way.
myself already.
After we gave some rules out for the made-up jokes the other week, we were saying please avoid mascarpone
cheese-based jokes, Harry Potter-based jokes.
Well, someone sent in because of...
Can I add another one? Sorry
Please,
to that.
please.
Is any sort of Indian or foreign food-based jokes.
Right.
The sort of thing you might have come up with in your local Indian or Chinese restaurant while having a beer.
Korma jokes.
Yeah,
like that,
based on the menu.
Okay. Mike from Sheffield says, no more Potter jokes, you say. Agreed.
Now that kind of thing slips through the fence.
That gets through the net there. Here's one
No,
from...
through the fence, not the net.
No, you see, I think it gets through the fence and the net. Here's one from Sally Field. Sally Field!
What?
You love me now. From Sheffield. And she says, hi, Adam. Hi, Joe. While up half the night with my teething baby daughter, Mia, I had the time to make up a joke for you. Here goes. Which Call My Bluff presenter has recently discovered the secret language of a small Mediterranean fruit?
I don't know.
Sandy talks fig. Sandy talks fig. Sandy talks fig. Yes! Come on!
That's good.
I found this hilarious at 3 a.m, not so much at 4:30 a.m. Love the show. Thanks, Sally. That was great.
Here's one from BC. He's like a great author. He only goes, or she only goes by their initials. Mahatma Gandhi, as you know, walked barefoot most of the time, which produced an impressive set of calluses on his feet.
Not this one.
I told you I didn't choose these.
I know.
Do you want me to skip it?
No.
I got to go through with it
You
now.
do now.
He also ate very little, which made him rather frail, and with his odd diet, he suffered from bad breath. This made him a super-calloused, fragile mystic, hexed by halitosis.
I'm pretty sure we did a very similar
Who chose these?
variation on that one.
Who chose these?
A novice. Maybe Lucy. She's
All
only
of
about
us.
13 years old.
Oh, James is so professional, he would not pick out a single member of the team for us to target our appropriate
Really
match.
hate them. I mean, that's a good one, but I do feel as if that has been done before. Sorry, man.
Hey, don't apologise. I've already distanced myself. It's all cool.
Here's one. Here's quite a tortured one from Andrew Tate in Durham, North Carolina, in the United States of America.
Very glamorous.
Yeah. Dear Adam, Joe, and James, you get
That's
included.
very nice. How polite.
Question.
Why is he frozen out Tom and Lucy?
I'm sure
How wooed.
That's very rude, Andrew. He says, what did Commander Tom Stinger Jordan from Top Gun say to the Englishman when he saw Lewis Collins chasing a food critic travelling on top of Emil Zatopek?
That is an everyday occurrence.
It happens. Answer.
Hang on. I'm not sure I've stored all those setups in my head.
So you know Commander Stinger Jordan from Top Gun, right?
Not really.
What did he say to the Englishman not really, when he saw Lewis Collins chasing a food critic travelling on top of Emil Zatopek?
Who's Emil Zatopek?
Well, I'll explain shortly. There is quite a lengthy explanation.
Oh, God.
Your Egon's writing checks your Bodie can't catch.
Oh, that's it. I
Your
got the Bodie.
Egon's writing checks.
Egon Sheila. What?
Egon Rone.
Oh, Egon Rone.
Okay, here's the explanation. Your Egon's writing checks your Bodie can't catch. Explanation. Emil Zatopek was a very good Czech runner who, I believe, even when weighed down by the heft of food critic Egon Rone, would still be more than a match for television and film actor Lewis Collins, whose most famous role was as William Bodie in the hit late 70s and early 80s show The Professionals. Even though food critic Egon Rone was Hungarian-born, he lived the majority of his life in the UK and produced most of his seminal work there. Therefore, it would be correct for the American Commander Jordan to refer to both Rone and Bodie as yours to the Englishman to whom he is speaking. It's watertight. Cheers, Andrew Tate.
That's extraordinary.
That's a fun joke, isn't it, that everyone can use at parties?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've got one here about impressionist painters, but already I'm feeling...
that made me chuckle, but I felt like it was
Really?
an old
Okay,
one.
I've got one about...
Do it, though.
Do you think...
Do it!
Well, I'm going to do another one.
Yes!
This is from
Yes!
Jim Lumsden. Hello, you lovely lads. I've gone for a slightly different joke format. These are news stories followed by tabloid-style headlines. Is this ringing any bells?
I didn't read this one.
Let's do this, he says. That's an exciting way to start,
Sure it
isn't
is,
it?
like Top
I read
Gun
it in a very flat way. Let's do this.
Let's do this.
Teen sensation disgusted at Frenchman's sunburn. Oh, God. Hannah Montana. No, I'm abandoning that. I'm throwing it away. I'm throwing it away. I'm throwing it away.
Smell that one still.
I'm abandoning it.
Listen, why don't you read this one from Peter Lawson in Melbourne?
Yes, please.
I like this one.
Oh, hang on. I've got some niche ones. I'll come back for those. Worst nightmare.
Oh, you've just done the punch. That's my system myself.
Sorry, I was confused. This is a disaster. Can I read my niche one instead?
then.
I've got high hopes for this. So this is a special subsection of made-up jokes. These are jokes that will only play in very select company. Dear Adam and Joe, here are a couple of made-up jokes. Although I'm very pleased with them, I fear they may have limited appeal as their subjects are perhaps a little too niche. See what you think. The first joke is a geology-based, was jointly made up by my boyfriend Chris and I. We made it up while walking in the Lake District recently. It may have been influenced by our rocky mountainous surroundings, or maybe not. Question: why was the stupid basalt happier than the clever limestone? Because igneous is bliss. The second joke was made up by me a while ago. I can't remember anything about the surrounding circumstances, but it's about gluten intolerance. Why did the celiac disease sufferer eat loads of breads? Because he was a gluten for punishment. Jane Tavern, a woman, Chris Moore's man, Birmingham. Is Adam Joe BBC 6 Music? Happy Saturday, everybody. Is Adam Joe BBC 6 Music?
All right. Well, yeah, okay. Listen, let's just regroup. Let's all get together this week, have a little chat, sit down.
I mean, I just didn't have time to read through them and pick any.
It's fine. Listen, this kind of thing happens once in a while. Let's just not freak out and just take some time to think. Here's Young Knives. Stephen Wonderful. That's Superstition. Adam and Joe here on BBC 6 Music, nearly at the end of the programme. Just a couple of things that I wanted to mention here on my bits of paper. Little shout out that caught my eye. Sue in Paddington. Happy birthday, Sue. That's from your brother Gil.
You're doing shout-outs now.
It's not a shout-out.
We've got jingles and wacky things and shout-outs. This show's turning into Wackaday. Dave from Dublin says that made-up jokes is spiralling out of control.
Yeah.
And Dave, you know I agree with that. I said this a couple of weeks ago. I think, he says people keep sending in jokes you can easily find on the internet. None the wiser, that Gandhi joke I heard last year. And you keep reading them out. Plus now we have upstarts trying to change the format by adding puns and newspaper headlines. It's spiraled out of control. It will lead to the ultimate downfall of democracy. I blame it on moving the time slot from 9 to 12 and 10 to 10 till 1, and thereby letting any old clown join Black Squadron, once an elite and awesome team. Dave, I have to say I agree, but that was an anomalous made-up jokes. The jokes were not vetted by Jay Corns.
Usually this time, my jokes, I had many more jokes.
You had many. I ruined it by...
were solid golden nuggets.
It's terrible.
Here's a little message right now from someone who is sticking it to the man, Joe.
Oh,
Ed
good.
Bailey. I love Pink Lady apples, but they're so darn expensive. So every lunchtime for about the last year, I go to the self-service aisle of a certain supermarket to pay for my lunch. And when paying for my Pink Lady apple, I select Cox apple from the list instead of Pink Lady. A beep. I reckon I save about 20p a day. But I'm starting to get a bit twitchy because now it's gone on for so long. And I always try and stand between the staff guy and the screen so he can't actually see. I keep expecting to see myself on an in-store scoundrel list. Thank you very much. Love the show.
Hey,
Keep up the
that
good work.
is the Text the Nation theme for next week. Pathetic but satisfying ways to stick it to the man.
Stick it to the man.
Don't forget this week's Text the Nation, which we've actually failed to pay off.
We set it up.
We set it up, and we will read out your contributions in Retro Text the Nation next week. But it is a return to public pretending.
Yeah.
Things you do in public in order to sort of cover up for perceived awkwardness. Is that
and kind of little games you play with yourself in public, just bits of public theatre to cover up
like
for all
the woman who
things,
pretended
bits of
to
fantasy.
be to have a radio in her collar, and be a policewoman, that kind of thing.
Exactly. So thank you so much for listening, folks. Don't forget to download the podcast later on this evening and get in touch with us throughout the week by email on any of the subjects that we've been discussing today. Stay tuned for Liz Kershaw. She's got Jazz Coleman, ex of Killing Joke, coming up. And that's it, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, don't forget to check out the Black Squadron gallery at our blog, bbc.co.uk/blogs/Adam and Joe. And we'll be back next week live from 10 till 1 here on BBC 6 Music.
Here's the Ukulele Beatles to play you out. This is their version of the Beatles. I've just seen a face. Take care. I love you. Bye.
Bye.